Kanpai!
Oh no.
Welcome.
There we go.
Guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. Welcome one and all to episode 183 of Kanpai Cast, where today we're talking about the barrier to entry. Before we get into that, we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping, where the usual situation of like, comment, subscribe. There's a audio version down in the description. You can plug that straight into your RSS feed. But please do come over to have a look at the memes, because you audio guys don't get those. And they are, something we put a lot of effort into sometimes. Occasionally, maybe. Yes, Xeno.
I also want to realize that we got messaged, or I got messaged earlier in the week talking about the audio quality of episode 181, or specifically my audio quality. Must apologize to everyone. My microphone was accidentally at 90 degrees, which meant that my volume went up and down like a truck. Going over some very bumpy gravel. It was all over the place. There was nothing I could do to fix it. But unfortunately, we discovered it earlier this week, or last week, basically, after we'd already recorded episode 182 as well. But that should be resolved. Probably people go like, "I didn't notice." That's fair enough.
Oh, is that the same problem? Because I remember you saying that the audio in last week's Notice Me Senpai or something was
all
weird.
over
Was
the
that the
place
same
as well.
thing?
Yeah, it's literally because the microphone
okay.
accidentally rotated. The cradle got loose and I didn't realise.
Right.
It's all right. We don't pay attention to your opinions anyways, So, moving on. You can also go to visit our Discord, Xeno's Discord. The streaming links are down below for both of these guys. And please come on down, chat with us, participate, and submit your memes for the end of the show, where we feature up to 6 of the viewer memes.
We do have the Kanpai Cast Discord as well.
Yes, we do have a Kanpai Cast Discord.
Yes.
And again, comments, we read all your comments. I love comments. Give me more comments. So, yeah. If you happen to be watching this right now, leave a comment.
Yeah, as one famous viewer did say, and I'm going to completely repeat ad infinitum, he scarfs them down.
Well.
Okay, so today's topic, the barrier to entry. Okay, this is a interesting topic that Xeno brought up for the day, which basically there are shows out there that can be genuinely off-putting for different reasons, multiple different reasons. The length of the show, the quality of the show, the topics that they feature, such as the fan service. There's a lot of things that can put the average viewer off of anime from the first time they try something.
Mm-hmm.
So, Xeno, what were your thoughts when you were originally bringing this up?
So, the initial topic idea was along the lines of, could we do an episode where it's Thaylien trying to pitch us and convince both Nasuth and I to watch One Piece?
No.
Right? Because One Piece is an absolute mammoth of a series, but everyone says, One Piece is amazing. One Piece is absolutely, but, I've tried watching One Piece. Yeah, I've tried watching One Piece. I got to, I think 50 episodes in and was I'm bored. So...
You made it longer than I did.
That's fair
probably.
enough.
But my point was, but there are shows that I want to get my friends watching and things like this. So, the one that I keep on banging the drum of is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon, right?
Yes.
So, the thought process then evolved of this topic. So, how much of a barrier to entry is there when it comes to the length of a show? And then it kind of evolved ever so slightly a bit further. To which is the biggest deterrent of watching an anime? Too much hype, right? Or the length of it, right? So, I don't know about you guys, but I have been no small victim, mostly because I'm big dimorphous blob. But, I'm no small victim to people going, oh, you should watch Full Metal Alchemist, the original. It is the best anime in the known universe. Oh, you should watch the original Hellsing. It is so goddamn... Like, I had so many people continuously hype things to me to an extent of... It set my expectations so damn high that eventually, when I did get to watch it, I wasn't impressed in the slightest. Right? So, my question to you initially is, have either of you had it where something has been hyped so hard that when you eventually did watch it, you just gave up?
Well, honestly, yes, I don't think so. So Thaylien and I are completely different on this, yeah.
So my one with this was, well, it put me off, but I still watched it because of the same, because basically it was for the show. Mm-hmm. So I want to give an accurate review. But for me, Kaiju number 8.
Yeah?
Yeah. So Kaiju number 8 was really hyped up as being this amazing, absolutely awesome show by all the advertising, by all the fans. They wanted this so badly to be, animated, and it was finally coming to the screen. It was finally getting made into an anime, and they were so impressed with it. And when I watched it, I didn't get it. I didn't get what they found so appealing from the manga.
But that's not because of the hype. The hype didn't make you feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Why do you say that?
Well, it doesn't sound like it from the way you described it.
The hype is from people that I listened to for recommendations, was that I should watch it, that I would enjoy it, and that it would change my opinions of this as an anime. Well, I hadn't developed an opinion yet. And they said, yeah, that's exactly it. It'll give you a fantastic taste. It raised my expectations, right? If I'd gone into it blind, I would have said, oh, yeah, it's good, but it's not the best. As it is, I'm going into it saying, well, no, it's not the best. It's actually fairly mid. What have you all been telling me?
Those are the same thing.
No, their approaches, there is a difference. So this is where we're going to have a little disagreement, I think, Nasuth. So, dropping down.
It's not. It's mid. It's just not good. It's not good. Yeah. It's just mid. It's the same.
No. Again, it's the how you get there. It's the journey. So if you go in without the hype, right, you're expecting nothing, and you go up to, okay, it's good.
It's mid. Right? No, you came up to it's mid.
Yeah, I say mid. Yeah, so we go up to it's mid. So it's middle of the ground. It's a nothing special 5.
May I
got good animation things.
Oh my gosh!
If you go in expecting a must watch and then go down to a nothing special 5, that's a different.
But either way,
experience.
you ended up at the same place. Your opinion is the same guys, in the end.
No. But I think the difference here, Nasuth, is when you have no precursor knowledge, you have no foundation, you're building up, right? And yes, it's still mid, right? But you've built up from nothing at all to mid, right? But when you have someone set...
But the way you described it at the beginning... Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Right. This is the important part. But when you have your expectations set by the people that are influencing you, be it like, oh, this is a 5-star acquired taste, or this is a 2-star must watch, or whatever, and you're not seeing it, your experience is going down, and that is a detriment to enjoying the show, right?
I don't see how if you end up at the same place. I just don't get it.
Because you're expecting
I just
more.
Don't get it.
You're expecting better,
well,
right?
No, it's the same as when you're expecting good in anything else. Okay, if you go in expecting something good and you get something that's not good, though it's less than good, then it's a disappointment. That's what disappointment is. If you're going in expecting nothing and you find out, oh, this is actually better than I was expecting, that's an improvement, in your opinions.
I think my brain just doesn't work that way. I think that's the answer.
I think it might not. That might be the case. Okay, so imagine if you had never had a burger before in your life, right? You'd never had a cheeseburger before in your life, and you bit into it, took a nice very back bite, and your first bite, you tasted all the flavors of a burger, but you also tasted something that probably shouldn't have been in a burger, maybe like part of a bug, a mealworm that had been mixed in there, right? You'd find that disgusting, but you'd be willing to give the burger a burger without a mealworm a better chance, right, in the future because of all the other things that were in there. Whereas if you had really good burgers all your life, went into this burger and bit into it, it would be more disgusting because you knew what to expect, and that was not it.
No, I don't get it.
Okay. This one might be our particular neurodivergences.
I mean, I get conceptually what you're saying, but to me, if like the way Xeno described it at the beginning was, it would make your opinion worse if somebody hyped it up, but you're still ending up at mid, and to me that doesn't seem worse. It would need to be like, oh, somebody hyped it up to me, and so if I hadn't gone into it before, I would come out saying it's mid. But if I do hear their hype, now I think it's actually below mid, and I think, so that's what I would think he was saying.
I think the difference here is the fact that one, we're talking on the review level, right, which is not necessarily the correct one, because we try to be as impartial as possible whenever we're doing our reviews. So for it to still land at the same point is good, but in all honesty, like, imagine how much, a genuine question, Nasuth, how much was Loz and I hyping up Kobayashi's Dragon Maid?
Quite a bit.
Yeah? And at the end of it, did that, did you go like, I don't know what you see in this?
No, I still understood what you saw in it. It wasn't for me, but I understood where you were coming from.
That's fair enough.
I think that's just how my brain goes.
Okay, here's a good one.
I think if anything, somebody else hyping something up makes me more likely to enjoy it in a weird way. Yeah.
That is weird.
Okay, sets you up to enjoy it more, so you go in with a better attitude. I can see how that works, yes. Think about it this way, Nasuth. I review at least one terrible show every season, right? And there's one terrible show that I will review, and I'll watch it because it's a terrible show I'm going to watch that season. I'm actually dropping one this season, so just so you know, from episode 1. But
wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to watch episode 3 for the review, but that's it. I'm dropping it. The take on it though, the comparison would be on a review level. I watched Kaiju number 8 all the way through because it was for the review, and I found it average. However, because I was expecting it to be amazing, if it hadn't been for the review, I would have dropped it. For being average. For being average after I was expecting great.
I'm not going to lie, I would drop so many more shows if it wasn't for the fact that I was seeing it through for the review.
Yeah, and I've gone in with no expectations on many mid-level shows that I've watched through to the end and actually enjoyed, even though I know they're mid, and reviewed them happily, because I didn't expect them to be any better when I went in. Okay? A lot of the isekais I've done, a lot of the I was kicked from the hero's party stuff that I've seen, some of them were terrible, but some of them were just middle of the road. And I reviewed them happily without any kind of protest because I was expecting average when I went into them. I wasn't expecting good or bad. I would have been happy about bad because that would have been hilarious.
like Xeno mentioned, is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon? And he has hyped the crap out of that, right?
I really have. I really have.
But that doesn't affect the problems I've had with watching it. Like, I none of the stuff that he's hyped has made me feel worse about the show. It's all stuff that I would find kind of annoying anyway. Like season 1 especially is guilty of it with a lot of the sort of slice of lifey stuff going on there. But even after that, you've got a lot of fan service that I'm not super into. And honestly, I just kind of found it a bit boring. But I don't feel like I have a worse opinion because you've hyped it up.
But me hyping it up, you still haven't watched seasons 4 or 5, right?
Yes,
granted,
that is
5's
true.
only just finished, right? But
I'll be honest, I barely remember seasons 1 through 3.
Right, okay. I'm pretty sure if I just talk to you about it, like, you'll go, oh yeah, I remember all of seasons 2 and 3 now. You know,
I vaguely remember the monster girl that they kind of adopt, and that's about
3.
it. Yeah.
That's 3. So, but yeah, so okay, so cool. We've established, and again, I'd be interested to know, like, our audience, what's their take on this? Because we had a conversation with a friend of the channel, Viper Menace, yesterday, Nasuth and I. And Viper's like, I've got a friend who's a diehard fan of Eureka 7. They think Eureka 7 is the best mecha series since Jesus is apparently now a mecha. But the But
piloted by a
neither
little
Viper, huh?
I thought Jesus was an isekai.
Anyway, but neither
I was
Viper
reborn in
nor
another world
myself.
as the son of a carpenter.
But neither myself nor Viper actually like Eureka 7 in the slightest, right? And it's just like, no, it's like, but this is the best thing in the... Anyway, right, so that's the staple and the bar and everything. But the question is, do we feel that shows with X many episodes, X many seasons is just a deterrent to
just
not
to
even
round
wanting
this
to pick it up?
particular topic out, was do the audience view too much hype as a barrier to entry? So if you want to leave some feedback on that, that'd be fantastic, because obviously there are differences even among the three of us as to what that entails and what that can cause.
Wait, hold on, I got it. Nasuth, I think if I say this one word, right, you'll understand. Overlord.
Yeah, but again, I don't think that having it hyped up to me would have made my opinion, or the fact that it was hyped up to me made my opinion any worse than it would have been naturally. I just don't think so.
Fair enough.
But then I kind of always go into stuff expecting the worst, so that way I'm pleasantly surprised. Even when somebody hypes it to me, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, sure,
Eternal pessimistic, therefore never disappointed.
Exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that, as Xeno was trying to move on to the number of episodes thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got some really long running shows that are still they're still going today, and they're still getting new stuff. We've got JoJo above us on the screen, and so many people want to start JoJo but don't actually get the earlier seasons because it doesn't feature some of the iconic moments that they've all seen in the memes. But they never actually then get around to watching it because they think they have to jump into the story at the very start and watch all the way through it. So,
which is true to some extent, but also not really.
Yeah. No, exactly. So it's because it does what Xeno actually really likes, which is it resets the board for every arc, every big arc.
Yeah,
resets the board with new characters.
But each arc is basically self-contained. Yeah.
There's an overarching world space and systems that keep going. But that's the thing.
Isn't that the same thing Brandon Sanderson does with his was it Cosmere? The Cosmere series? Because like all of his series is like the Mistborn and stuff take place in the same universe, but they're all in different like planets and stuff. So they're not really connected, even though they also are.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just a loose
sort of that sort of thing. It's that sort of thing.
But the big thing here is that with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, effectively you could watch Stardust Crusaders. Yeah. And then you'd be
a little confused about who Dio is and who Joseph Joestar is, but that's about it.
No, not really, because the show does a fairly
kind of explain it.
start, explaining the whole thing. you get a decent history of like who Dio is. I mean, fine, you could watch part 1, which is 12 episodes, and then skip straight to part 3, right?
Well, but then you'd miss out on the running gag of Joseph every time he gets into a vehicle, it explodes.
What do you mean? No, that's part 3.
No, but it also happens in part 2 when he gets in a plane, like a jumbo aircraft carrier sort of thing. Not aircraft carrier, like a cargo plane, and he ends up crashing.
Does it?
Yeah, it's like right at the end. That. Oh, it's hilarious. Anyway. Sorry.
But but the whole point is that I don't think you can do the same thing with Dragon Ball Z. I don't think you could do the same thing with Bleach, and I certainly don't think you could do the same thing with One Piece.
Or Naruto.
I was actually gonna bring up Dragon Ball Z because I have a Blu-ray disc restoration of it, and I've been meaning to watch it because I've never finished it. I've only never made it up to the Buu Saga, like partway through the Buu Saga, and then just never finished. But the idea of going back and watching all of those episodes, even being able to binge them, is just so daunting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it is.
I know how many episodes there are ahead of me, and how slow some of the arcs get.
There's a reason the fans have gone through and started making things like One Piece, being the One Piece condensation, where they just bring everything, all the flashbacks that are completely unnecessary if you're binge watching. They take those out. All the on the last episode and on the next episode things, they take them out. All the hours of standing still, they take out and minimize to a dramatic face-off, but not a whole half an episode of just standing around. Cutting out things that really genuinely need to be cut out. One Piece is a brilliant endeavor and has reduced some arcs of the story that take literally a year of watching in real time. Take 2 hours on One Piece. If you're watching it weekly, that's 52 episodes. That's no small feat at 22 minutes an episode. Even if you're skipping the intro and outro and the little stings in the middle, it's just it's a huge reduction in time. And I think that things like Dragon Ball Z could benefit from that same thing as well.
DBZ Abridged is a great way to consume the series, even if it is more on the comedic side and not,
Well, even that, you got Dragon Ball Kai, which I think
it
was
does strip out a lot of the filler.
It strips out so much of the padding in the episodes, but I don't think they ever finished it. I think they only did the Frieza saga, and that was it. Like, they only got up to the... Which is like, what?
It would, to be fair, is one of the biggest offenders in the show.
Well, the Frieza saga?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's because it bloody spins off into the Namek saga, and then the Frieza saga, and then the Super... Oh, no, the Ginyu Force. That was it, before the Frieza one.
Yeah.
And then, like, it just splits off into all these different...
It has 7 episodes of Goku charging a spirit bomb.
Yeah.
11, but yes, that's besides the point.
Oh, 11, wasn't it? Yeah.
It is 11. It's famously 11. But yeah, so... Wow. But at the same time, I think that it's really difficult to get into a show when it is broken up into seasons. Like... Look at, I suppose, Demon Slayer or My Hero Academia or Haikyuu. When you started off and you're like, this is okay, but do I really want to watch so many seasons of this?
Yeah. So here's the question I was coming to. Is the barrier to entry more a mental one than an enjoyment one? I think the mental time investment more daunting than the prospect of actually just starting a series and enjoying it enough to carry on that long?
I think to some degree it is. Because, like, I know I like Dragon Ball Z to an extent, But I wouldn't. I know there are enough parts in there that I don't like that I wouldn't, and it's so long that it would be hard to go back into. But JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, on the other hand, I love pretty much all of it. Even the one I don't like as much, Golden Wind. Wind. Yeah. Even that one I like, and I would watch that one over again, no problem. Especially since I can break it down into arcs. I can just go back and watch part 2. I can just go back and watch part 3. But I can also watch the whole thing if I want.
I think it's the interesting thing. We've noticed this phenomenon in other areas of entertainment, like video games. One of the reasons that, say, Destiny went downhill is because people wanted to always play the latest update and not the bits, and then go back for the other bits, not do that. So they had to implement a player leveling thing that would just bump you up to like level 36 when you jumped into the game for the first time, just so you could take part in it. And same thing with Warframe as a direct competitor. You've got to go through the entire story, and as Warframe being hyping up the newest update, but a new player has 50 hours to go through to get there. And what they actually went in for was, it can be now with the reductions in time. Somebody proved it was a thing. Anyway,
they made it a lot easier.
They have. Now, anyway, the thing is that what people are getting advertised is the latest series with the cool animation, with the new stuff, with the new experiences. And so going back to having to watch through the 4 seasons prior can seem like a long barrier between you and what you actually wanted to watch from the advertising.
If we turn around and just say, like, I think there's 2 avenues of looking at this, and I'm going to pick on One Piece because I got the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So if we were to look at One Piece, right, and I wanted to start One Piece, and I was going to watch 1 episode a day, right? I would not finish, and I'd I wouldn't miss a day of watching One Piece. I wouldn't finish for 1,200 days divided by 365. Yeah, so basically 3.2 years.
3.5 years, approximately, maybe 4 years. Because there's now new episodes going on again.
Yeah.
And then you compound the fact that you're looking at the animation of it today, and it looks, really cool and stuff. But then you go back to episode 1, and it looks like hot, steamy garbage. And you're like, how much of this do I have to get through to get to the good stuff?
Personally, I don't really care for the quality of the animation unless,
as long as the story's
like the bar's set high to begin with, and then it gets worse. Case in point, 7 Deadly Sins, right?
Yep.
That's you put the bar high. If the bar starts low to begin with and then gets progressively better, that's fine. But when you start it high and then it goes low, it's just like, no.
That was one of the things I found while looking for memes this week, was the Mushoku Tensei versus the latest one, another one of the ones that the
Battle after the end.
Yeah, Battle after the
beginning
end.
After the end. Sorry, the
beginning after the end. The mangas are compared as, like, Mushoku Tensei is the classic isekai that people really enjoy, and then the Battle at the End in the manga is like the more adult original character doing more combat-oriented things in the same vein as it. But then when it comes to the animation, a casual practice match between 2 characters has fucking animated onto complete fluid animation of all the hair, all the weapons, and whereas the Battle at the End has PNGs that slide across the screen, almost as bad as Blue Lock.
Yep.
But that Blue Lock's a fucking thing for the animation. Amazing animation in the opening season, and then they just lost all their budget for the second season.
Yeah,
the ball doesn't even spin in some scenes.
Yeah, it's So the ultimate question is, right, so going back to the whole One Piece analogy, do I want to spend the next 3.5 years watching One Piece, one episode a day? Or do I want to halve that and watch 2 episodes a day? Or do I want to quarter that and watch 4 episodes a day? How much time of my day, each day, am I prepared to sacrifice to watch One Piece? And that's the problem. As soon as you think to yourself, I am sacrificing X amount of time to watch a show, you've basically already lost. That's yes. How I see it.
No, you're quite right on that one. It's how I get through seasons of shows, for the reviews, is I go, well, I'm not going to say how much of the anime I'm going to watch today, but I'm going to pick a show and watch an episode. And if I want to go to 2 episodes, I'll watch 2 episodes.
It's also not just the time investment, it really is partly the quality to me. Like, even if I know it gets better, if those early seasons are hard to get through and I have to devote a bunch of time to it, it's like a double whammy of I can't justify doing that.
I see what you're saying.
Well, what's your definition of hard to get through?
Well, like the qualities, so like again, the One Piece stuff, right? I know the quality of the animation and everything gets better later, but early on it's so rough and the stories are so simplistic that it's like, can I really make myself get through this just to get to the good stuff?
I think the problem there though is the comparison of the good stuff, because do you even know that that like some of the everyone says like, oh, the later arcs of One Piece is absolutely amazing. It's like I looked at the parts listing in on the One Piece wiki when I was having to customize our background system specifically to accommodate One Piece, right? Because there's one part that lasts, was it like 4 years of airing? It's like it's like 200 plus episodes. It's nearly 200 episodes. That was it. I was just
Fair
like,
enough.
this is bonkers, right?
Okay,
Yes.
so
part
maybe Bleach
is 4
then.
years. So that's the big crux of the whole thing, is the fact that you're hearing that it's amazing and stuff, but what you've been exposed to at the very start ain't that great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you really want to go through it?
Yeah.
Do you really want to, find out the hard way?
Yeah.
Just a chance that the person telling me it's great is actually is actually correct, and it is great.
That's exactly what I was talking about with the mental barrier rather than the actual enjoyment barrier.
Case in point, Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah, that's up on the screen as well.
Yeah, I watched 1 season of Attack on Titan
immediately,
and then didn't bother to continue. I was like,
that one I would say starts amazing and then gets progressively worse.
Well, that's the crazy thing, because everyone says like Attack on Titan is like the most hype thing in the universe. Well, they don't, but hyperbole is a thing. So everyone says it's the best thing in the universe until the very end where they ruined it. And I'm like, hold on, you thought it was the best thing in the universe from season 1?
If that's the best it can offer, how bad does it get?
Yeah. So, okay, fine. Right. Do you guys want to add anything to this? I mean, I was gonna.
Well, kind of, yeah. I like talking about Bleach. Obviously, I bring it up a lot. So the reason I bring up Bleach a lot is because it's one of those few original source mangas where the artist did in fact plan out the ending. It's one where he did in fact think about how his overpowered main character was going to become and get overpowered and what was causing it. And
but
then
he didn't plan out the Bound Saga.
No, he didn't, because that was anime only filler. Which he regrets, in fact. But the original one, people who are watching on the YouTube version can see it's 4:3 ratio. It was 2005. It was before widescreen TV became largely available. Before the 16:9 ratio changed what we do as an entertainment watching world, and that animation from there seems to be one of those interesting things about when Naz was saying the quality. Okay, for the time it was fantastic quality because it was being displayed on 4:3 TVs. And it was set up entirely for that, so that the larger pixelation of a color TV at the time would make that smoother, slightly fuzzier, blend better, and actually look sharper at the other end. As it was, you'd need a full restoration of it, so in the same way that Naz has got the Dragonball Z restoration. You'd need that to go over the whole thing for adjusting color, adjusting sharpness to get it up to more modern standards. But I find that the way they present it is still fun if you go back and watch it. That could be my bias. The problem that many people have with Bleach is that to watch these epically animated new seasons, you really do need the background of where it came from, because it is one of those that was planned from the start. It's one unlike JoJo, where they wipe the board clean and it's loosely connected. You can't just jump into a new season and expect to understand the characters, where they got there, or what things are just implied by when they mention them. How do you can't mentally adjust to what things are arseholes and what things are just known factors in this universe unless you've watched the whole show. So that can be a massive barrier to entry.
I want to pivot ever so slightly.
Can I pivot first?
Go on.
I'm wondering, when it comes to things like Bleach or Dragon Ball or My Hero or any of these big shonen shows, are we just too old? And so if we weren't already into it, it's harder to get into because we are not stupid kids who don't have an understanding of what makes a good narrative and what doesn't?
Actually, kind of what you have just highlighted leads into what I want to talk about.
Oh, excellent.
So I think a large part of the problem, case in point, Attack on Titan. When I was first watching Attack on Titan, I was loving it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But my love for it slowly decreased over time. And then when the end of the season didn't actually have any form of end whatsoever, I basically threw my toys out of the pram because there was no announcement of a second season at that point. It wasn't for I think another year before the announcement of a second season. The second season didn't come out for another 3 years. So with Attack on Titan, it is structured very much in the vein of needing to be binged, right? The reason I say this is there's stuff that happens in early episodes that is relevant 15 episodes down the line, right? Mm-hmm. So 4 months have passed since I saw the original thing, and I'm expected to remember that, right? And I don't remember those subtle I remember key plot points. I don't remember specific poses characters make, right? Unless it's JoJo. I remember all of those, right? But I don't have that sort of visual mind, right? I'm very much remember by doing, not by hearing. I can't remember.
I think even 4 months is a long time for somebody who has a better memory to well, not a better memory, but a different memory to remember little details like that. Yeah.
The show
that's my neurodivergence.
The show that I think does a fantastic job of informing the audience is a Western show that just before you need to know is a Western show. It's called Supernatural. It had 15 bloody seasons. I watched the whole fucking thing, right? But they would bring in characters from like 8 seasons ago, right? I don't remember who the hell this character is. Every episode that had like important plot points to do with past stuff, they would just do previously on Supernatural, and they would just give you highlights to just fill in the blanks, and then you could just watch the episode as if like you just watched the old stuff, right?
Farscape did that really well too. Like, remember when they were doing the heist and they had to get all the like they got like the Tavlex and the Xenogelion pirates and stuff, and they were like, here's all the stuff you need to know about them as we bring them into this episode.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I feel that maybe it's just some case of we can't readily get a hold of them, you know, but episode zeros used to be a thing, right? Where it was this is like a highlight reel of what's going to happen in this coming season, you know, to sort of like sell people to commit to a show and things. But like, I haven't seen them in bloody years. But the idea of actually going like, you know, this is season 5 of Dan Machi. These are the things you need to know that are relevant to season 5, right? So
from all the previous
I think I'm going to disagree with you two on this one. I absolutely hate these previously on that spoil what's coming up in the episode.
I disagree that it's necessarily a spoiler for what's coming up in the episode. I do see where you're coming from. Like, why are they talking about the Tavlex in this preview? We haven't seen them since season 2. But you don't know how they're going to come in.
Well, yeah. If you were looking at the last episode, and the last episode said we're going to have to do this, we're going to have to do some major heist, and then suddenly they say, previously on, here's a Tavlex. Oh yeah, what do the Tavlex do? Yeah, now we know what they're going to do in the heist now, before you even see the actual plans. So
fair, but I would rather. Okay. Oh my god, this is so fucking pertinent. Oh my god, we can't talk about it yet. But in the 3-episode review, I'm going to go into full detail to why this is important when it comes to Gundam G-Quux.
Oh god.
Right? So
wait, while we've got this on screen, I just want to point out, Ichiko, anime schoolgirl confirmed.
Yep.
Right, so
he's got toast in his mouth.
Which means he's also a cat.
Anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, for you guys neural divergent too
relevant to G-Quux.
But no, the whole point is that like being informed about the events of the show is so important, because
they throw out a lot of terminology in the first episode that if you don't know about, you're going to be like, what the fuck's a Minovsky particle? Who the fuck is Char?
No, not just that, but they've done things that, wait, but that didn't happen. Wait, what are they referring to? So it's really fucking important that the audience is treated as if, you know, if this is coming back from like fucking season, you have to ground your audience, right? And that's why I will always respect Supernatural over so many other shows, is because you would have to watch the entirety. Okay, another brilliant show, Archer. Right? Sorry, I'm talking about Western stuff. I shouldn't be talking about Western stuff. Archer, right? Archer made no fucking sense unless you watch the first episode. Right?
Okay.
If you do not watch the first episode, the whole show doesn't make a blind bit of sense. Simpsons, you can just pick up. Right? Bob's Burgers, you can just pick up. Right? Archer, huge barrier to entry. You have to watch the first episode.
That's necessarily true.
That's from mine and several other people's personal experience.
Huh.
Because you don't understand the layout, the format, and everything of the show until you watch, unless you've watched the first episode. Because there are so many callbacks, there are so many references,
running jokes,
yes, that are all set up by that first episode. Anyway.
All right, no. So, me, if I was doing it myself, I would do the reveal of the thing in the episode, and then in the next
you do like
episode,
a flashback.
Say, do previously on to explain who they are. Not the flashback, just the same thing. Previously on explains who they are after you've had that reveal, so that people who know and remember get that moment of
So introduce the tablet in an episode, and then at the beginning of the next episode,
these guys? It explains who they are with the previously on.
The previously on.
Yeah, well, that's difficult because I mean, case in point,
it would have to be cliffhanger style.
Well, yeah, I mean, first off, cliffhanger style would drive me mad, right?
Well, you could easily drive mad.
But ReZero, that is not ReZero. Why is that
the system's having some real issues today.
Yeah, it's because of the years, I think. I'll have to look into it. So hopefully that'll swap over to ReZero. There you go, ReZero. So the biggest issue with ReZero is the span between the seasons is literally years, right? Like, I think the first season came out in 2010, something like that. It's so old, but we've only just had the third season, and they make reference to events in seasons 1 and 2 that aren't so much the biggest events, but some pretty pivotal ones, and I can't remember what the bloody hell they were. And it's also a deterrent. I don't want to watch seasons 1 and 2, especially not season 1 again, to understand the events of season 3. I would much rather a episode 0 to highlight the events, the key important events to the upcoming season.
Maybe that would be good. Like, so rather than having a previously on in front of every episode, have just a single
just a single
source
episode.
point. That way people like Thaylien can skip it, and people like Xeno can be like, yeah, I need to see that.
Yeah, like it's you know, I know Dan Matthew like the back of my hand, right? But
But also, so that when the episode happens, it's relevant. You could go back to that first episode, not the all the way back to the episode, first season, and say, "Oh yeah, they did remind us about that in this episode."
Yeah.
To be clear to the audience, Xeno won't remember this episode of Kanpai Cast tomorrow.
I won't remember it 5 minutes after we fucking finish recording it.
Who are you?
Shut up. So,
all right, other barriers to entry, because we've got this whole thing of too many episodes. We've got this thing of your own personal hype. What's the other barrier to entry you thought of, Xeno? You waving your finger.
Yeah. Okay, right. So it's effectively the sunk cost fallacy, right? So I watched first season of Log Horizon many moons ago, and I thought it was brilliant. Like, I loved the way that these characters were brought into a video game world, and they treated it like a real world to not so much cheat the system, but, you know, just to function within the system. So it's a really cool series. They then did a second season which kind of pivoted away from that gamification of a world and treated it more like a slice of life romance, which wasn't what I was really after. And then ultimately they released the third season. Needless to say, Loz and I managed to watch one episode of that, went, I think we're done. and that's the part of the problem. Is like we knew that the third season was coming, so we power slogged our way through the second season to watch the first episode of the third season and just like, no, I just can't. Yeah. That was a waste of time.
Yeah. So you'd enjoyed the first season so much that you were willing to watch the second season, even though it was bad, or not what you wanted, even though it's not what you wanted, in order to see if the new season was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God, it's like how we powered through Overlord, trying to get to the part where surely it's going to get good somewhere. We've been told it's going to get good. It's going to get good eventually, right? And then it just became a hate watch situation where we had to keep going because we hated it so much.
I do apologize to anyone that's listening that does like Overlord, and
it's just not for us. Okay, it's all right.
I will admit we are too vocal.
I
will admit we are too vocal on our dislike for Overlord. Right, but at the same point, like, okay, so this is a bit of a tangent, right? You know, I've come to the not so small realization that aura farming is the equivalent of edging.
Please elaborate. I am so enthusiastic to hear this.
Right, okay, right. So, whatever you do, right, anyone that wants to Urban Dictionary any of these terms, don't, right?
At least not at work.
Yes, especially not at work. Edging is, Do
you know what Tantra is?
No.
It's the act of not completing your self-gratification.
Yes.
For as long as you can.
Yeah, so it's basically that. And my belief is aura farming is the exact same thing. It's where basically the audience is getting so pent up, is getting so
they're
enthusiastic.
waiting for the main character to do the thing.
Yeah, and yeah, that's all it is. I swear, love of God, aura farming is just edging, right?
You're close.
What do you mean I'm close?
Oh.
I'm not quite sure if you're trying to make a pun here or...
No. Hi. Damn it.
Oh, Xeno.
No. Okay, yeah. So, you're as bad as me, but no.
I'm genuine.
It's not edging in the sense that there is no gratification to it. It's just straight up self-gratification, but for the main character. It's that thing of he's so cool. He's going to he's doing the thing. He's so cool that I want to be him.
He's morbing out.
Right. He's okay. Right. So but here's the thing. Right. Mm-hmm. The episode of Solo Leveling where we've kind of massively gone on a tangent. I do apologize. But Solo Leveling where Xeno is having a heart-to-heart moment with his mum, and all of the Goonas basically turn around and like, I don't like this. Is bad.
He cried.
It's bad.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't edge off of this.
There's so many things I could compare that to, and I just can't because of YouTube. You won't let me do the correct comparisons
while edging.
No, what their opinion of that is based on and what it can compare to in the acts. There's so much material there, and you won't let me use it, YouTube. I am so
upset.
I
Dear.
have
I
no
get
idea
where
what
you're
referring
coming
to.
I mean, it's the same thing with Dragonball Z, right? You spend episodes and episodes and episodes waiting for Goku to show up, and then waiting for Goku to do a thing, and
Yes. Okay,
and just become more powerful.
The safest way is that you are mid-session and suddenly you think of naked grandma.
Oh!
Yeah.
See? That's what it's like for them to see Xenu cry.
Or Xenu thinks of his sister.
But the whole point is, like, why anyway. My question here, my complete pivot now, moving away from that. Please feel free to send death threats to Thaylien. He's on Discord.
Please do. I will enjoy them immensely.
Anyway, here's a question for you. Do you think that the Dragon Ball Z community, or even just the Dragon Ball community in general, is dying out because of the barrier to entry, the deterrent of so many episodes? Because whenever I have heard someone talking about Dragon Ball Z, it's like our generation or younger, just like, the generation before, right? I have never seen anyone. What? Sorry, yes, after. Sorry, I do apologize. Yeah. I have never seen anyone in their teens today talk about Dragon Ball Z. Talk about My Hero Academia all the fucking time.
But might they instead be talking about Dragon Ball Super? Because I've never really watched the original Dragon Ball. I've tried, but I never got very far into it. And I think a lot of people in our generation watched Dragon Ball Z without having watched Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
So would it not be the case that the same way that fans of Dragon Ball Z weren't necessarily fans of Dragon Ball, that fans of Super might not be fans of Z?
I think it's even more than that. I think it's the same way that people who grew up watching Dragon Ball Z from the generation after ours don't talk about Yu Yu Hakusho. Because it's just an old show they didn't get to see at the time when they were growing up. And now that going back to it, it's an old show. And so it has all the flaws of an old show. No, Super isn't an old show. Dragon Ball Z is an old show. It comes from a time before they were born. So, of course, it wouldn't be on their radar naturally, as would all the new stuff that's coming out, or the stuff from the last 5-6 years that's come out.
But clearly, Dragon Ball as a genre, as an IP, is still really popular. I mean, they just made Daima. The games sell really well. They continue to sell really well. So I think there is still a fan base for Dragon Ball, but not specifically, the franchise, but not necessarily specifically Z.
Exactly. So I'm really interested to know, I don't think our audience is that young, but I'd love to get a census of the number of people that have watched Dragon Ball Super that have not watched Dragon Ball Z and what their age is, right? So, I would. Well, actually, to be fair, the number of people that watch Dragon Ball Super, whether or not they've watched Dragon Ball Z and what their age is, I'd just be really interested to know. Because I wouldn't be surprised if a number of people just said, "Oh, just watch Z. Just don't bother with Dragon Ball. Just watch Z." I mean, I tried to watch Dragon Ball. I tried to, years and years and years after my foray, properly began into anime and everything. I tried to watch Dragon Ball. It's meh. It is
definitely
so meh.
All the time.
But at the time, it was probably pretty cool and pretty fun.
Probably, but I mean, anyway.
What other specific genres of barrier to entry can you think of, Xeno?
Subject
we spoke about.
Yes, that's exactly where we're going, Nasuth. Subject matter, but in a sense of things that people aren't willing to watch when they actually first start up an anime, and it contains something that's very off-putting to them. And then they don't go back to anime because that's a representative sample to them.
And elaborate.
Well, think about
anything with
fan
power
service
scaling or fan service.
Yes, too much fan service, or something that features a popular one is the slavery. One that immediately stopped me from watching a show was the non-consensual bond merger in Remonster. The moment I found that, it's like, yet no, I'm not watching that show anymore. If that had been my first show, I might not have watched any more anime. It was that bad.
Or the rampant zoophilia in Beheneko.
Beheneko, yes.
I think that one of the... I hate the fact that there is this stigma that all anime is the same. Anime itself is a genre. No, anime isn't a genre. It's a medium, right?
It's like saying all Western shows are the same. No, that's not true.
Well, yeah, it's like, all cartoons are for kids, right?
Yeah.
I hate that sentimentality entirely, right? But I kind of get where you're coming from, whereas if someone experienced something and like that's their first foray into, like, I mean, oh God. So my uncle, he came to visit my folks one time, and I was visiting as well, and we were talking about like anime on Netflix and things, and apparently, he was letting his like 9-10-year-old daughter watch anime on Netflix, but High School Double D's on there, right? High School Double D has like an age rating of probably a 15 to
17
an 18
plus, yeah. 17 plus, I think, is the thing.
So it's just like,
Well, I mean, Netflix does give you parental controls if you're smart enough to use them.
Right, but does the parental controls... Does the parental control... So my understanding was you have kids' accounts and then you have everything else.
Probably, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is she using a kid's account about 10 or 11, or is she using his account, which has full access?
Well, I imagine it's the latter, because, again, like a 10-year-old watching Attack on Titan, I'm like, how do you not have nightmares?
Exactly.
So it's I feel, so my whole point is, I feel that there is a huge stigma surrounding anime, that one show represents the whole thing. It's like Star Trek Voyager represents all Western TV.
Yeah, it's like it's going down that function because there's more. It's becoming more and more available and more mainstream. So people are seeing different things. But then again, there are some things that you react to so viscerally that it does put you off. So imagine if your first Disney movie was the live-action Snow White.
Oh, God.
With that bad CGI, with the bad lessons where Snow White, instead of, being a...
bad everything.
She instead of... A good example, somebody pointed one out.
Oh, so not the original Snow White. Okay.
No, the live-action one that came out this year.
Ugh.
Yeah, so in the original, Snow White, when she's organising the dwarves to clean up their own home, joins in. She's the one that will grab the broom and sweep up while they're all dusting or washing, and while the animal creatures are helping out. But in the modern one, instead of doing anything herself, she actually bequeaths the broom to one of the dwarfs, who's so mind-blowingly proud of being given the broom. And she swans off to do whatever. It's like, that's not the lesson that scene had. It's that everybody joins in and everybody should do stuff together. Like, what have they lost in their translation of such a simple movie?
But I don't think at any point, society would go, oh, that Snow White is a representation of all Western media. I don't think anyone would ever say that.
But it could be a representation of all Disney movies.
I don't think anyone would think that either.
So some people can think that. That's a representation of all modern Disney movies. You could actually be forgiven for thinking that.
The Lion King or The Little Mermaid is representative of the Disney Renaissance.
Right, but at the same time, you're taking a comparison.
You're taking a single point,
but if it's a case of, oh, you watch Naruto and therefore all Shonen Jump is the same. It's like, well, no, because Chainsaw Man. No, Chainsaw Man, right?
Chainsaw Man's not
Black
Shonen
Cat.
Jump.
Right? No, Chainsaw Man is Shonen Jump.
No.
It is, but it shouldn't be.
Well, I mean,
Death Note is Shonen Jump, and it doesn't deserve to even be anime. Let's be honest.
There's a rom-com that's Shonen Jump. Shit, which was the? You
have to remember that Shonen Jump is just an imprint. It's not an actual genre.
Yes.
No, I get that. It's a brand, right? But that's that's the comparison here. It's like you're taking one thing of the brand,
yes,
right?
Okay.
Whereas I'm saying you're taking one thing and you're destroying the medium,
right? Yes,
right?
Yeah. Which is a bad thing to do, but if you are the kind of person that would get offended by that particular thing, it would become a barrier to entry. Whereas, because you'd always be questioning, is this show going to be just like that first one I watched?
Yeah.
Imagine if you're somebody who's really turned off by the amount of fan service that anime has. Your first show is something like High School Double D, and you're immediately put off by it, and then you see a show called Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, and the name immediately turns you off because of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a state of judging a book by the cover.
Yes, but you're still, even if you're not the type to judge a book by the cover, that would still be a barrier, because you're thinking of, oh yeah, well, the last one I watched had all this fan service in it, and as Nasuth will attest, the first couple of seasons of Danmachi do actually contain a lot of fan service as well. Not huge amounts, not like over the top levels that can be in High School of the Dead or High School Double D, but quite a bit.
Yeah.
By comparison to something like Naruto.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that would be concerning if it wasn't Naruto.
There's a little bit in Naruto with the older teachers.
A lot of absolutely necessary camera angles.
But
and Naruto turning into a girl as part of the sexy no jutsu.
But the whole I kind of get it with the name, because people will judge a book by its cover, right? Yeah.
But what Xeno's saying is like, you watch Naruto and you instantly think that no, a better one would be like you watch Solo Leveling and you instantly think all anime where they increase in power all manhwa are bad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is content sorry, Xeno, go ahead.
No, you keep going.
Is the content of your first show or content that's objectionable to you personally that much of a barrier to entry, because you are associating the medium with that content after the first time?
I will definitely say there are certain tags I avoid, but I don't know if that's based on just a single show.
Yes, there are plenty of tags that I avoid. One even in this season.
Like if I see ecchi, I'm almost certainly gonna skip it.
Like it's really interesting because the whole idea that people avoid shows. Okay, here's how I'm going to twist this to everyone has been talking about the beginning after the end. Everyone is still talking about sodding Solo Leveling. Everyone has been talking about the Devil May Cry not anime, right? But no one, and I mean no one, has spoken about Moonrise, right? Genuinely, I literally binge watched 3 episodes before we started recording. It is contender for anime of the year.
I don't even know if that's on my radar.
Yeah, as long as it sticks. But that's the problem.
That's a Netflix anime at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, done by which studio, right? Done by
proper anime.
Yeah, done by character designs by the female mangaka who did Full Metal Alchemist, right? It is absolutely insanely good on the 3 episodes alone, and no one's talking about it because Netflix just hasn't advertised
on my
it
list.
at all.
Okay, interesting. I'll check it
It
out.
is on my list now.
You know? So, where was I going with this?
Yeah, so you were twisting that to say you were talking about that people are talking about all of these and they're not talking about a better anime.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this case, the barrier to entry is not the content; it's the availability and advertising of it.
But I wouldn't be surprised, right, if people saw sci-fi and went like, ugh.
Yes. Sci-fi plus Netflix.
Yeah, that's a...
Well,
I can
regardless
see
of
that
the
being
plus
Netflix anime
Netflix.
isn't real anime, you know.
Well, no.
Even if it's-
Regardless of I know what joke you're trying to make there, but regardless of whether or not it's anime or Netflix or whatever, the second they see sci-fi, it's like, no, it's garbage. And what are you basing that on? Science. So your education.
I don't understand sci-fi.
You're basing your hatred of an entire genre based on your education.
Sci-fi makes me have to think. I don't want to think.
That couldn't be so far removed. It's a wow.
So just because it's in a sci-fi setting, it can't tell a story or have entertaining characters, or...
But that's the perception that a lot of people have.
Yep, it's all Star Trek,
right?
I mean, there are some genres where I think, no, they just can't have entertaining characters.
Like
modern isekai.
But that's not always true.
Yeah.
I mean,
not entertaining main characters.
That's not always true.
No, that's not always true at all.
Yeah, but it's just my assumption.
It does sure feel that way.
Yeah.
Based on the sheer number of ones that have horrible main characters compared to the few that have good ones.
I think a large part of the problem is that with things like isekai, right? There are so many bad ones that even if someone did recommend to you, like, you should watch Mushoku Tensei, they won't give it a shot. It's like, oh no, I've watched enough isekai, they're all the same. They're not all the bloody same, right?
Well, and with Mushoku Tensei, you've got the extra barrier of the early story where Rudius is a baby and, like, still perving on his mom and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a special stop-off for Roxy looking in on Paul and his wife.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But the whole point is, like, it's... People won't give things a chance because other things exist.
That's true.
And that, like, okay, here's the thing. All Western media exists, therefore I won't bother giving it a try. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, my personal opinion when it comes to Western stuff is that it'll either get overplayed to the point of it's shit, right? Or it'll just get cancelled, right? I'm enjoying it and it's just cancelled. There's so few shows that exist in the West that have a brilliant start to end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Star Trek Next Generation, Gravity Falls. I think that's it. No, that had a bad ending.
I really liked Avatar last
It got
season.
cancelled. It got cancelled,
but there's the Peacekeeper Wars, which finish it, which admittedly
but that was
not
horribly rushed.
as good as it. Yes, it's very squished down because they squished an entire season into like 4 hours. But
yeah, but got cancelled.
Babylon 5, as long as you don't go past season
cancelled.
4.
This does bring me to the point of another barrier to entry that people don't think about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And is something that's very disappointing, and so makes it very difficult for people to mentally invest in a new series. And that would be the fact that it's only one season.
What?
I don't know.
Yeah. Whereas they get into something like No Game No Life, where it's a wonderful show, and it even has a movie, but it's completely cut off by the fact that it's never had a sequel. It's never had a season 2.
It's a case of if it was meant to only have one season, that would probably be fine. Mm-hmm. But you're talking about stuff that wasn't meant, clearly was not meant to only have one season. It clearly
sets up an entire story and ends on one season and never comes back.
Yeah, but
it makes it's not a huge barrier to entry. I'm not quite saying this is a major cause of people not watching anime.
Entry instead of being a single season to being a cancelled show.
Kind of, but I don't think
or show that never got renewed.
Cancelled.
No, but
show that never got renewed, because I don't think No Game No Life got cancelled. I just think it's never come back for a season 2.
It was always intended to be what it was. Yes, but I mean that's the opinion of the audience.
So
I mean, we don't know how Japan took it up, and it's always based on the domestic reception of a show.
Yes, it is.
Right.
So this is the thing, that it's not a very huge barrier to entry, but it can make people question their ability to mentally invest in a story, to mentally invest the time. So this show has one season, and I know it's got one season, but it had one season 3 years ago. Should I even watch it? Because people have said it's because there's people still asking for a second season, and it's not been renewed. So
but
should I bother watching it, knowing it's going to be? Can do, yes.
See,
but it's that disappointment of, do I want to be disappointed by getting to the end of the show and it not having that second season?
Wanting more, yeah.
Is that short roller coaster ride of up and down worth me now wanting this season 2 and not getting it?
I mean, for my personal belief, I will always promote people watching No Game No Life, right? No matter what.
Absolutely, well worth it.
I used to love Rising of the Shield Hero to the same extent, and I would watch it not nowhere near as regularly as Loz would, but I would used to watch it quite a bit. And then season 2 came out, and I did feel the existence of season 2 tarnish season 1, right?
Yes.
I'm hoping season 4 can do some form of recovery, and I do not expect either of you two to watch season 4 when it comes out.
Yeah. But is that something that dissuades you from looking at sequels?
For me personally, no. I want a done story.
Yes.
I think over the years, I was really invested in the Warcraft universe, where there was such a huge, expansive narrative story around this fantasy world of Azeroth, and the story of the orcs coming from Draenor, blah blah. There was so much to this narrative. It was incredible. But the problem with ongoing stuff, just like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is experiencing the last few years, is the fact that it keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. And realistically, the Marvel Cinematic Universe should have ended with Endgame, right? And not released any more movies, right? Until they reboot it, or but they kept pushing it. And this is a common problem with stuff done in the West. We keep going until we have killed it. We have sucked all the fun out of it, and it is no longer enjoyable. House MD should have stopped after, I think, 5 seasons.
5, yeah.
What you call it? Stargate SG-1 should have stopped after 7 seasons, right? What other
Disney live action remakes should have stopped after the first one?
Fringe should have stopped after 3 seasons.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I don't know what Thaylien said. What did Thaylien say?
Disney live action remakes
should just stop.
Should have stopped before they started.
They should have.
But
they should have stopped after Maleficent. Maleficent was fucking amazing. And then it's like,
But see,
no, Maleficent
hated Maleficent.
It was so good because it was a completely different.
I hated Maleficent.
Right.
I absolutely hated the way it took it and the way that it tried to interpret that story. I hated Maleficent entirely.
Okay, I understand and appreciate where you're coming from, but at least it wasn't just Sleeping Beauty again. Right?
Yes.
Right? Whereas after Maleficent, they were like, the success of Maleficent basically tells us we can just do live-action Disney films. So instead of actually doing a reinterpretation of every story, we're just going to do the same interpretation of every story.
But worse, because we rely on you having seen the animated version to get the modern version, the live-action version.
But
aside...
To me, this is a problem when a show ends after one season and still has open questions, because it doesn't... It's just telling a part of a bigger story. But then you've got something like Orb from last season, or Daima, which are clearly designed to be single season experiences that have an arc from beginning to end, that don't leave a bunch of open questions at the end. I think those as single seasons are not a barrier to entry, because you know what you're going to get from by the time it's over. You know you're going to get a full story.
I want to highlight one thing that I think is often not considered by most audience members, right? Is the fact that when it comes to anime is an advertisement for the source material, right? It's like No Game, No Life is an advertisement for the source material. Same with Demon Slayer, because effectively with the source material, if you can suddenly boost the sales with an animation, the source material will make thousands and hundreds of thousands percent of profit, right? The percentage profit on comics is massive by comparison of animation, right? Most
especially now they've moved into the digital side of it as well.
Yes,
because you pay. You're not even paying for the paper; you're just paying for the images.
Yeah, but most anime is produced at a loss, with the expectation of recouping the finances from the source material or merchandise, right? So that's it in a nutshell. But so many people do not commonly know this, and I think if people go, like, I'm not going to lie, part of me is tempted to go to Amazon.
I think it's because in the West we don't. I mean, we sort of have that to some extent, like especially kids' cartoons are there to sell toys, right?
Yeah.
But by and large, it's sort of made as its own separate thing. In terms of other Western media, and so we don't have the same expectation of it leading you, like, only necessarily being one season to sell. Like if there were Farscape graphic novels, right, which there probably are, and they only made one season of Farscape to get you to buy that, we would be confused as hell about that. We'd be like, what are you talking about?
So I think the things have kind of moved on a bit, because in the West we went so heavily into making shows to sell toys. With the Transformers, with Centurions, with Mask, with all these things that were set up to sell the toys, we kind of went through that, and now people are trying to make things based off that original source material that actually are now better. So Transformers 1, for example, the CGI that wasn't made by Michael Bay, is actually a really, really fucking good movie, and I suggest people go watch that, because it's a great telling of the original story of what sets up Transformers, and that wasn't made specifically to sell the toys, although there's obviously the Transformers franchise in general that is going to take a massive boost from it.
You also get a lot of video games off of stuff like Lord of the Rings or what have you, whatever.
Take the DreamWorks remakes of old shows, like She-Ra, like He-Man, like Voltron. Okay, regardless of what you actually think of how well they did with each one, they weren't made to sell the toys again.
Are you sure?
Not specifically. While they were actually made to appeal to the audiences that liked the originals and now want to show their kids them.
I feel that with those shows on Netflix, Thaylien's pretty much right. It's not to sell the toys and things like that. It's to sell the service.
Yeah, because right? Netflix has to fill their roster site with stuff to fill out the fill out the content.
So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of
but going back just a few years prior to that, with like My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, 100% to sell toys.
100%. Yes. Because like one of the big things with in the mid 2000s there was a remake of He-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it was cancelled on a cliffhanger because there was a junk food ban. And as a result, advertisers were not spending the revenue to have their adverts alongside the shows. And as a result, the funding for production of the cartoons had basically dried up, so they cancelled all of them. And, you know, it's just like, well, shit, you know?
Yeah. And the similar thing, but for different reasons, happened to Thundercats. They wanted to make a nice remake of it, and it wasn't made to remake. It wasn't made to sell toys as such, but it fell through because it wasn't selling the franchise at all. It wasn't didn't get the advertisers through because it wasn't pushing so much into that.
The one that was made to not sell toys was Thundercats Roar, which sucked ass.
Yes. Thundercats 2011 got cancelled because the toys wouldn't sell, because they were basically marketing to a more adult audience. The DVDs sold like bloody hotcakes.
But DVDs don't make money.
Anyway.
But the thing is that, that whole thing is a great take on this, because we're not seeing that cultural difference in the advertising and in this, source material versus animation.
Yeah.
We're not seeing that whole market drive because that's not how we see.
We're used to that only happening to kids stuff, not stuff that's aimed towards an older audience.
Speaking of cartoon industry, Jason the Wheeled Warriors would make a fantastic toy brand. Again. Okay, you could have tracks, you could do like Hot Wheels tie-ins, everything. Just go for it. I want to see that show properly redone.
On a completely minor tangent, I've actually just spent a little bit trying to find the manga of No Game No Life on Amazon, and it looks like they've taken it down.
Wow.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
So does Amazon, it seems.
Okay, what about some? I know we're probably getting close to the end here, but what about something like animation quality? Did we hit that already? I don't know if we did.
So we kind of did ever so briefly, and
so I know we talked about Seven Deadly Sins and One Piece.
I think the big thing is that when it comes to animation quality, oddly enough, I feel like a lot of this season, the first episode has banger animation, and then the second episode is just like apart from unless it's the beginning after the end where it starts with shit animation. But I think the big thing is that with the likes of Seven Deadly Sins, where it has the infamous animation later seasons of what the hell am I even looking at?
Massively off model stuff.
I feel that the biggest it is the sunk cost fallacy, because you get to the point of, do I just keep going or do I stop? Right? Do I
wait for one of those massive fight scenes that could have amazing animation? That's where all the budget went.
Will the story be enough to make up the difference between the animation quality and what I'm actually ingesting.
I actually got a show that combines multiple of these. Okay,
Go on.
where the bad animation and the content that if you saw it, you'd just assume
Is
that
it Bleach again?
anime was no. Imagine if your first anime was Najica Blitz Tactics.
Oh God, no, we're not talking about fucking Najica. It starts awful, it ends awful, I'm sure.
Exactly. So imagine if that was your first experience of anime. Imagine that kind of thing. But it's bad animation, it's bad story, it's bad presentation, it's a bad show. So in terms of that, that's obviously going to tint your expectations and move you on it, possibly move you on from the idea of trying stuff out.
How would Najica even become someone's first anime?
That is a great
Somebody like Thaylien shows it to them.
Yes, I would have to say, here you go, little person. I'm not going to recommend you something like Boku no Pico. I'm going to recommend you Najica Blitz Tactics.
You are.
Yeah. So I don't get restraining orders, funnily enough.
No, I said you
people
would.
just move away. No, actually, because contrary to my online persona that I adopt to make fun of Xeno with, I am actually very charming in real life.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is going back to a drop in animation. I think it is dependent entirely on the enjoyment of the viewer. Like, if you are someone that rates X show as a mid, then when the animation drops, you might just go, nah, I'm done, right?
Yep.
When there was one show that I watched, I reviewed it years ago, which was Harem at the end. Sorry, Harem at the End of the World? No.
Yeah,
World's End Harem.
World's End Harem.
World's End Harem. And the last two episodes, the animation was so rough. But I'm like, well, it's the last two episodes. I'm not going to recommend this for anyone to watch anyway, because this is not as good as it could have been.
But I made it this far.
Fuck it, I'll just, sunk cost fallacy, I'll just fucking finish it, right?
Mm.
But when it's a show like Blue Lock, where the first episode, the first season has such high
production value,
no reception, with such grandiose reception from the audience and things, and then it pivots over to a PowerPoint presentation, I wouldn't be surprised about the number of people that would actually just give up on it. Though saying this, right, Demon Slayer, right, is a show that the animation has stayed tried and true throughout, and
we're still calling it mid.
The show's just not very good beyond the animation. So,
well, no, but this is the thing that really shocks me when it comes to Demon Slayer, is that it's a dumb switch your brain off action shonen jump,
and it's always been that way.
It's always been a dumb switch your brain off fun action shonen jump, right? But
suddenly, around season 3, people were like, "Huh,
this is shit.
Is this just a dumb anime?
Why?
A dumb action anime about?"
It's always, but it's always been a dumb anime. Like, what's? Yes. I don't understand where the switch off turn happened. Why the thought? Yeah.
So because you say about with the acclaim, with the story, with everything that's has going for it in the first season, Goblin Slayer. Season 2's animation switch up.
Oh god!
And the way that and the story switch up, where they decided to go and skip a massive amount of the material, possibly even all of the material, to set up the second season into a setting where it didn't need to be. And then, it just, compared to the first season, dropped off a cliff. Did you watch the whole thing due to the same sunk cost fallacy?
No, I gave up on season 2 because I didn't want another Rising of the Shield hero.
Fair enough.
So I'd rather just stop and then just go read the manga. because at least it'll look pretty and won't have random centaurs in pubs that can't possibly facilitate a second floor. So,
well, neither could Goblin Slayer himself facilitate the second floor.
This is not wrong, not wrong at all. But
Couldn't walk up the stairs.
The big thing is with. I like to believe that even if the show diverts from the manga, as long as it is a solid show, that it's fine, right? Like, Kaiju number 8 diverted from the manga nearly constantly. It's got so much padding in it, right? As I said, to, again, friend of the channel, Viper Menace, yesterday, right? They only covered 2.5 volumes in the entirety of season 1, right? Chainsaw Man covered 6, right?
Yep.
One Punch Man, I don't fucking know what the fucking conversion rate on that is. One Punch Man covered 6 volumes in 1 season. But yeah, everyone fucking loved Kaiju number 8. You got people championing the bit, saying it should be anime of the year over Free Ren. I will never understand this.
Not about that. I mean, I liked it a lot, but
no. People say this.
I know.
Those people are wrong, but people are saying it. Anyway,
I'm just like, I liked it better than either of you, I think, but it's not that good. It's not like that. I mean, it's good. Yeah. It's not that. It's not Free Ren good.
It's not Free Ren good.
Is it Apothecary Diaries good?
No, it's not even Dungeon Meshi good.
Especially not after P nipples. No.
I was just
but
anyway, after P nipples, I just
thought, what it is better than?
It's not that good.
You know what it is better than? Something that'll turn you off the moment you see it, and it doesn't matter how good the story is. And that's Berserk 2016.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I should actually give this a go. I should subject myself to
I don't even remember the story that they had in this now, other than that it follows Fernie's chasing Guts for a while, at the very least.
That is quite a big chunk of the manga, to be fair.
Yeah, okay.
So, anyway.
So I don't know if the story's any good compared to the manga, but I know that the animation is so bad that it is difficult to get through.
Fair enough. Should we migrate over to conclusions?
Sure.
Absolutely. Let's do a roundup of this one.
So, I think that it's safe to say that the length of an anime can impact the
desire to watch the anime.
Yeah. But it's certainly not the be all and end all, right?
It's also
a lot of mitigating factors.
Sorry, I was going to actually contribute. It doesn't correlate directly with whether you actually enjoy the anime or not. It's just it's a mental barrier to entry because of the time investment, not whether you're actually enjoying it.
Is that a miniature back scratcher that you've got there, Thaylien? Oh no, it's a beard comber.
Oh, it's actually a regular back scratcher that extends.
That's so. Oh, it extends. Ah, okay.
Right. Regardless of that random tangent, I think that titles of shows and genres of shows actually have more of a deterrent factor on whether or not someone watches it. But for me personally, when something is overhyped, I don't want to pick it up, right? I would just no, I'd rather remain ignorant than watch this, which is why I'm so often keen to be on the front line doing this show so that people can't overhype it for me.
In the words of a Bridge Vegeta, I am the hype.
Yeah, pretty much. But with a bunch of my friends, I will go, have you seen this? No? Okay, you should watch it. And that's it. I try so hard not to overhype things because so many of my friends are so susceptible to overhype and just won't watch it. It's got nothing to do with me, honest. Right.
What's the common denominator here?
The unwarranted barrier to entry is genre or title, book by the cover, and the entirely mental but justifiable factor is hype. Overhype leading to disappointment, even though you would have reached the same conclusion in the end if you went in there with no things, because going down is not as fun as going up.
I think I disagree with you ever so slightly. I don't think genre and title alone are enough. Yes,
that's why I said they're unwarranted.
Those can be legitimate reasons to not watch something, but the thing you have to remember, if you do that, is that you should never be afraid to give something a try if somebody you trust, if I don't like slice of life stuff, right? But if Xeno told me you should give this one a try, I'd be really, that'd be a big, heavy push to actually do it.
I mean,
you're not a big fan of slice of life, but Apothecary Diaries
is a mystery. But
it's a mystery,
I think I nearly lost Nasuth with VV for iSong, right?
It took a while to really get into.
I was so close. I was so close to losing Nasuth, but as soon as he got past episode 3, he was fucking hooked, right? It's not a small task to get past episode 3.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's overhype can be a serious problem. Anyway.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Should we move on?
All right. Let us move on.
Cool. That was fun.
So, moving on to the supporter questions. Zrugal asks, before we start the supporter questions, I just want to say thank you everyone for listening to our podcast so far. We really appreciate all the likes and comments everyone leaves on these episodes. If you can't think of anything to say, you can always say Nasuth's a big silly, or scroll down and like other people's comments. Any engagement is good engagement. Right. Zrugal also asks, is everyone thought he was the weakest, but he is actually the most powerful, the new fad to dethrone Isekai?
Join it in equally...
Yeah, it just works in conjunction
equal
with
amounts
Isekai.
of bad and good.
It's been around for a little bit, but I think the majority of shows which have that savvy of title, they're not really isekais.
They're not isekais. They're going to join them in that fad of being such a generic power fantasy thing. And I think they are. But I think there are some good ones hiding in there that if they do get animated well, we could really enjoy.
Ryan Couscous plus coffee equals null asks, is Isekai going to dethrone Isekai? You read that right. And why is the answer yes? Is it because putting an Isekai in another Isekai is just better Isekai? Have we reached Inception Isekai?
Not yet, but we could.
I mean, I'm pretty sure
we could.
Eminence and Shadow is going to go back to the regular world, so you could say that it's isekaiing its isekai.
No, that's not how that works. Remember,
only if the girls go with him.
That's like anti-isekai. Anyway, no, because that's reverse isekai. If the girls go back with him,
it is.
He's anti-isekai, but they're reverse isekai.
If he goes back to his real world, but it's not actually his real world, it's just one that's very much like it.
Like Sliders.
Then that's just isekaiing in isekai. Yeah, that's just isekai.
That would be an Inception. That would be Inception Kai.
Nazuth Taicho asks, oh, friends, the Scottish. Is Thaylien going to dethrone Xenogelion? Will he take his head? And with this, his power, can there be only one? Is that good? I don't know if that was good.
It's good enough.
Did I? Good enough. Okay. Nazuth Taicho, I tried. It was really on the spot, and I had no Scottish thing to listen to.
I appreciate it. No, I appreciate you did good.
Nazuth Taicho especially didn't go into French. Nazuth Taicho asks, would you watch a Highlander anime, and would everyone who dies end up getting isekai'd? Yes and yes.
I got my head chopped off by the one, and now I'm in a new world with my Japanese katana.
And now I'm a farmer in another life. Yeah. Right. Moving on to the comments from...
Wait, they were aliens! They got sent to Earth! Highlanders and isekai!
No.
Moving on to the comments from last week. First off, we got the news. Zrugal says, great content as always. Could you help me with something related? My Weeb Wobblet holds no anime news, which is why I'm here.
Oh, I hope you left with your wallet full of anime news.
Cool. Media do holding, and Zrugal is listing.
Be listening.
Fair.
Be listening.
Using AI to restore old anime is one of the best uses of AI I can think of for now.
Now you say that.
Right now.
And it might be
as long as it does a good job. As long as it does a good job.
Yes, it might be true for the Astro Boy one that we were talking about, but if you go look up the I Love Lucy restoration that they did, it is horrifying.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, it hallucinates background character faces, and they are the most disturbing images I have ever seen.
Wow.
Wasn't there recently, like last year, a re-release of a show that was now upscaled for 4K, but it was AI upscaled, and so everything.
That's I Love Lucy. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, there was also Interstellar 5555, the one.
Oh
with the
yes, yes, that one too.
Yeah, and everything looked just subtly off.
Yeah.
Right. Drew also says, neat, all facts this week, or rather, all fact this week.
We had the one fact. We had the one fact.
Right. Strong Michelle says, great content as always. Could you help me with something? I need more Thalien's dust spirits in this episode.
Okay, so the reason they both did that is because a bot posted on the channel, and it was like, great content as always. Could you help me with something? I have this Bitcoin that I need transferred. And I'm like, oh my god.
Right, okay, that actually explains that then, right. Strong Michelle also says, more games that I've never played being shut down. Hate when games just like... Oh my god, my brain. Hate when games like that just disappear after so many people put love and work into them. Problem with games as a service.
Yep.
Then from the cast, Sulfur...
Braddy?
Okay. What a yap fest, Jesus. I mean, it's a podcast.
It's a podcast.
Yep. We don't mind the yap fest. But if you do, leave us a dislike. Interaction.
Also, there are timestamps in the description below where you can skip to exactly the parts of the show you want to see.
Strong Michelle says, Lost Technology is a pretty cool concept and made for the interesting topic. Yeah.
Thank you, Strongest.
I wish there were an anime that actually explored more devices other than things the characters find useful, or ones that explain more about ancient tech in general, instead of just making the whole concept of ancient tech a plot device MacGuffin. Yeah.
You might want to check out Made in Abyss.
Yeah. Honorable mentions I'd like to add.
Tragic.
Trigun, Delicious Dungeon, Chaika, the Coffin Princess. Really? Chaika?
Not all saying there's better examples.
Just another few that had uses of ancient lost tech. I kind of... Yeah, Chaika does feel like it fits. Zruel says, I didn't really take notes.
Strombus also said Kanpai Cast.
Yeah, sorry, yes. Zruel says, I didn't really take notes this time, but I was entertained. Thanks, guys. A friend of mine is really excited for Fire Force. There seems to be a few interesting things from the season. I'm looking forward to the 3-episode review. Memes were great. I appreciate you folks. I think the 3-episode review is in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, shoot.
The week after next. So
I think if math is done correctly, it's hard to tell. But
math is math. Math is math.
Math is math.
Moving on.
Right. So time for everyone's favorite part of the show, the memes. Woo! Woo! Yeah! Right, so most of our memes come from Reddit. Xeno has a few that aren't from Reddit this week, I think. And we also take up to 6 viewer memes a week, which you can come to our Discord, linked in the description below. Drop your memes in the meme submission channel. Somebody gathers them up for us, and we don't even see them until we put them up live here on the show. Live for us.
This is a pre-recorded show, but this is our real reactions to them. Mm-hmm.
So, let's get right into those viewer memes. We got 6 this week.
Oh.
Legolas, what do your anime see?
Oh my god.
They're taking
Hobbit Chan to Isengard. Those backers.
Oh my
nice.
god.
What? I can't read that.
The hell?
Japanese culture. What do Japanese people say before they eat food? Sayonara, konnichiwa, itadakimasu, or omae wa mo shinderu.
Nani?
Oh, brilliant.
That's actually really good.
Oh my
lord.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Delicious in Dungeon?
The D&D episode, yes, in general. It's just liars getting told off.
Oh, God!
Well,
my God!
Yes!
Absolutely. This is more evidence that anime girls are cats.
Oh, my God.
I hate Ubelblat. Right. On to my memes, starting out with a video meme.
I knew I was right to pick that
Just
other
like
one
me.
a couple of weeks back.
Just like me.
So, I think this is a short from one of the Fate spin-offs.
It is, yes.
And effectively it's a duel between 2 samurai, and she can't actually draw her sword.
Yes.
She knocks herself out spinning, and the other one defaults the winner.
Yes. But she's so cute.
Yeah.
She's so derpy. It's just like me. Right, number 2. I don't know why Shinji needs to get inside the robot, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask.
But
hating AI slop, hating on my son. Hayao Miyazaki.
Thank you, Mr. Miyazaki.
this is the one that I was going to use, Nasuth.
Miyazaki.
The top 5 Shinichiro Watanabe shows: Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Bebop, Horny Cowboy Bebop, Lesbian Musician Bebop, and Opioid Crisis Allegory Bebop. It's true.
Well, he's not... Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm pretty sure those are the only 5 he's done, but, you know.
Yeah.
But they're all Bebop.
They're all Bebop. Anyway. Hey, it's not like I'm gonna put the moves on a kid. As it would turn out, Misato would, in fact, put the moves on a kid. Yeah.
As it would turn out, Misato would, in fact, put the moves on a kid.
And surprisingly, that was not my spicy one. This next one is. I think it's ever so mildly. I don't think it's too bad.
If you know.
What I think he's trying to write it, legitimately trying to write it.
I am definitely cultured enough to know.
Let's move on to Thaylien's now.
Alright.
What I learned from watching the Devil May Cry Netflix series was both sides of war fucking suck. The real heroes are the sexy dudes who do nothing but eat ice cream and dance their way through life.
Oh, so true. So true.
Wait, he ate ice cream?
Okay.
Did he? I don't remember him being... Okay, hang on.
That over there is a Charizard. It can spit fire hot enough to melt boulders. If it wakes up and sees me, I'm toast. I'm going to stick my head in its mouth.
Oh my god!
Steve.
Brilliant.
You were taking too soon.
We miss you, Steve.
Oh
if
my
Levi
god!
The Colossal Titan.
What?
Because Levi Short.
Inherited the Colossal Titan.
Because Levi Short.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Eiichiro Oda has no plans for Komi-san manga sequel. That's a different Oda, Eiichiro Oda.
Yep. Yep.
Born to not give a fuck. Forced to go, oh!
Oh my god.
Is this one? Oh, I guess I shouldn't ask. 3-episode rule. Right.
This is from the new one. From the main show, I believe.
Yeah. I was just going to ask if it's any good, but I don't want to.
I don't know if anyone's watching it.
Oh, okay. And your last one. Oh, no, not this one! Oh.
絶望の匂いだ。面白いことにせよか。ほら、こんなに人が多すぎて。お父さん。あかん。ドナルド君。まだ死ぬ時じゃないでしょ。アメリカ、万歳。ファイト。絶対負けないよ。ランド、ズライドまで。出ろ。だってまだサンキュー言ってないでしょ。一回も言ってください。おい、仲良くしてるね。この世界、季節にいけるかな。昔グレートだと、大きにまたグレートになるかも。
I hate it. I hate it so much. And yet it's so perfect at the same time. Oh god, no.
They let you do it.
How humans show affection to cats? How cats show affection to humans?
Yep, good old headbutt. I love it. I love a good headbutt.
Anime girls are cats.
Yep.
Right.
Right. So this is a word count for various different shows and speeches, right? So Death Note, word count 317, right? ReZero, the Echidna speech, 753. Oh god, Battles Become Commonplace. I think that's what the middle one is. 1008. Hellsing, 1229.
The 1,000 girlfriends.
So the 100 girlfriends
really love you.
5,102, right? And
Wow.
they actually did the speech at the end of season 2, right?
Oh God.
And
Wow.
they basically sped it up to the point of no one can hear
Chipmunk
or
noises.
read it. It is chipmunk
Dear
noises.
Lord.
It is so, and it's like, and they compare it to the actual original source material. It's just like this one page of Renjiro and this giant speech.
Oh, so these are specific
yes.
speeches. So like this is his end speech for Death Note.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
whatever. And then this one is the I Love War speech, whatever. From
Yeah,
Hellsing.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I understand now.
Yeah. Yes.
I am now wondering if you've got the other version of this.
Yeah.
So if you haven't got it by the end of your memes, then
He doesn't. He doesn't.
I will mention it.
Probably don't. Moving on.
What the fuck did I just see? There has to be no way, right?
I wonder what's taking him so long.
She is an S rank, though. I wonder how many points I would get if
More like an ass rank.
Oh, fuck no. Hello?
Are you cheating on me again?
Like I said multiple fucking times. We are not together.
But you gave me demonic backshots.
The system made me do it.
Why does that sound AI generated? Oh. Yes.
Yes.
Good old mouth harps. I don't know if that's looping or not. No, it's not.
No.
Okay, there we go.
Hacker voice. I'm in.
Yep. I had to do that one.
Roger the autopsy report, sir. Mr. Wright's gonna be the defense. Yes, I heard. Hey, do you ever wonder how he prepares for a trial on such short notice? The body was found in the kitchen, but was then moved to the conservatory. We know this because of the bloody footprints in the hall. The witness said they saw the suspect leave to the left, but we know they had to have gone right. Only guilty people can't tell left from right. And I found this empty plate and these shoes and this blood-covered candlestick that now has my fingerprints on it. I don't know how they all fit together yet, but it all points to one thing.
Not guilty?
Boom! Not guilty. I've never been more prepared for a trial in my life.
So you got the autopsy report, right? At least you know the name of the victim? Please tell me you at least know who your client is?
It's not you again, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's your last one.
And then last but not least, check out our newest Legion stand. Fetch! So basically, the Legion stand of the Roman Empire is like an anime girl on a stick. It's like a statue. They all love it, so that she throws it in the enemies, so the Legionnaires just go straight after
it's
it.
supposed to be the enemies. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is based on actual legends about the Roman army, where they had their actual standard, the eagle, that they would not allow to be taken in battle. And so one of their commanders actually threw it into the enemy in order to encourage the troops to attack.
Right. Okay.
Right, there you go.
Got it.
So the other meme I was thinking of, that you might have had was there's a text message chain which is simply says, "Why do you like these girls anyway?" And I'm glad you asked. And there's a 6-hour message.
Yes, that's a good one too.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Right. Well, that's
Alrighty.
it for this week's episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching and or listening. And now it's time to bottoms up. Kanpai.
Kanpai.